evening. I brought with me a terrific group from the high school called the Full House A Cappella Ensemble. We're going to sing 4 selections for you this evening. And the first one has a soloist in it. This is Samantha Scuria. So we certainly do appreciate being here, and we certainly do appreciate your attention.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would away forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. If you gave me a chance, I'll take it. It's a shot in the dark, I'll make it. Know with all of your heart you can't shake me. When I am with you, there's no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. Dum 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 dum. Set out on a mission. Let's find our inner peace. Make it everlasting. So now is it
with every step we take, fly out to the beach, surely so casually. With intent to say, get you another switch if you gave me a chance, I'll take it. It's a shot in the dark, I'll make it. Know with all of your heart you can't shake me. When I am with you, there's no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. Yeah, 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 yeah. If you gave me a chance, I would take it. It's a shot in the dark, but I'll make it. Know with all of your heart you can't shake me. When I am with you, there's no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. When I am with you, there's no place I'd rather be.
This next selection that we have is called Down. It's a contemporary song. It's very popular. You might have heard it in that Apple EarPods commercial with that guy breakdancing. It's a really fun song, and it features our soloist, Olivia Jewett. So we hope you like it. Yep.
Didn't even really wanna go, but if you get me out, you get a show. There's so many bodies on the floor, so baby we should go and have some more. Are you down, diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, 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 diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, down, down. Everywhere I look, up people's hands thrown up in the air to help them dance. Come on, baby, catch me if you can. I know you don't have any other plans. Are you down, diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, 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 diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, down, down. Are you down, 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 down.
Are you down? 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 Are you down?
You know we can put him on to shame. Now isn't the time to play it safe. Isn't this the reason why you came? So baby, don't you let it go to waste. Are you down, diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, down, down. Down, diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, down, down. Every single thing is feeling right. Started as a quiet Friday night. I don't really think that we should fight this. What if we don't stop until it's light? Are you down, diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, down, down? Are you down, diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, down, down? Are you down, 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 down? Are you down, 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 down? Are you 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 Are you down? 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 Thank you.
All right, so our next song is Our next song is a really popular song by an artist named Megan Trainor. It's called Lips Are Moving, and it features Madison Govert on the solo.
Huh? No, we're not. I'm just stepping out.
Dum
Your lips are
dum
moving.
dum dum
Your lips are
dum
moving.
dum dum
Your lips are
dum
moving.
dum dum
Lie, lie, lie.
dum dum dum
Your lips are moving.
dum dum
Your lips are moving.
dum dum
Your lips are moving.
dum dum
And I know that
Do,
you
do,
are
do,
all about that
do, do,
bass, about
do,
that
do.
bass, no trouble. You're all about that
Do, do,
bass,
do,
about that
do, do.
bass, no trouble. You're
Do,
all about that
do,
bass,
do,
about
do,
that
do.
bass, no trouble. You're all about that
Do, do,
bass,
do,
about
do,
that
do.
bass.
do 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 do.
Boy, look at me in my
Do,
face.
do,
Tell me
do.
that you're not just about this
Do,
bass.
do, do.
You think I could be replaced?
Do,
Nah,
do.
I come from outer
Do,
space.
do,
I'm
do,
a
do.
classy girl. I'ma hold it up.
Do,
You're
do.
full of something, but it ain't love.
Do, do.
What we got straight overdue.
Do,
Don't
do.
find somebody new.
Do,
You
do,
can
do.
buy me time and
Do, do.
but I smell her on your collar, so
Do, do.
bye, 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 bye. I know you like your lips are moving. Tell me, do you think I'm dumb? I might be young, but I ain't stupid. Talking around in circles with your tongue. I gave you face, you gave me sweet tongue, sweet tongue. Saying that I'm your number one. But I know you like your lips are moving. Baby, don't you know that I'm done? Your lips are moving. Your lips are moving. Your lips are moving. La la la, babe. Your lips are moving. Your lips are moving. Your lips are moving. La la la, babe. Hey baby, don't you bring down tears, 'cause it's too late, babe. Oh, you only love me when you're here. You're so two-faced, babe. Oh, you can hide me down the ears and na 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 na. But I smell her on your collar, so bye bye bye. I know you like your lips are moving. Baby, do you think I'm dumb? I might be young, but I ain't stupid. Talking around in circles with your tongue. I gave you bass, You give me sweet talk, saying that I'm your number one. But I know you like to move in. Baby, don't you know that I'm done? Your lips are moving, your lips are moving, your lips are moving. Then you lie, your lips are moving, your lips are moving, your lips are moving. Here we go. I know you lie, your lips are moving. Tell me, do you think I'm dumb? I might be young, but I ain't stupid. Talking round in circles with your tongue. I gave you bass, you gave me sweet tongue. Say you're number one, but I know you lie. Lips are moving, baby, don't you know that I'm done? Okay, so our last selection for this evening is a popular tune, Beyond the Sea, and it features Katiana Rosario as our soloist. Beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me. Our lover stands holding signs and watching the ships go sailing somewhere beyond the sea. He's there watching for me. If I could fly straight to his arms, I'd go sailing out for so beyond the stars. It's near beyond the moon. I know beyond the dawn, my heart will lead us on the shore, just as before. There will be beyond the sea, and never again I'll go sailing. Dig it up, dig it up. Ba-da, ba-da, da, ba-da-da. Happy we'll be beyond the sea, and never again I'll go sailing. Dig it up, dig it up. Ba-da, ba-da, da, ba-da-da. I know beyond the town, my will lead us I know we'll meet beyond the shore. We'll kiss just as before. We will be beyond the sea, and never again I'll go sailing. No more sailing. So long sailing. Bye-bye. Sailing. So long.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the 5th Annual George Peabody Legacy Awards, sponsored by the Peabody Education Foundation. As president and chair of the foundation, it's always nice to have a great night like this, where we honor the legacy and achievements of people who have made an impact on the lives of our children in the Peabody Public Schools. You know, the Peabody Education Council was the original establishment changed to a foundation. We've been in existence now for 32 years. And our goal is really simple, to bring financial and human resources into the classroom to allow students to experience innovative educational opportunities and provide the resources that feed that innovation. We're one foundation that you can guarantee and go to the bank on that we're 100% volunteer organization. Nobody gets paid. Every dollar we raise goes back into the classroom. Our flagship program, which is called Best Bet, gives teachers who have great ideas about what they want to implement in the classroom a chance with no budget to implement them. We provide that budget. Our Best Bet program was designed to provide financial resources for great ideas. And every year, we have between 60 and 80 applicants submit their applications, and we tend to fund over $30,000 per year in grants to the classrooms. So I'm proud to say that in 32 years, we've put over $1 million back into the classroom for our teachers and for our students, and that to me is a great accomplishment. We also do a number of programs to help our children along in terms of understanding their private obligations and responsibilities as a citizen. And this past year, we had our kids voting program where we purchased a curriculum, and kids were actually able to go into the booths with their parents and vote on their own ballot and understand what a privilege and what a right it is to be able to vote in an election. Another one of our favorite programs is our guest reader program. You know, it's pretty much a known fact that the best way to enhance a child's reading skills is to allow them to listen to a reader. This year we had over 60 volunteers from our community visit assigned classrooms and read aloud to our students. They do this weekly from January until May, roughly 16 weeks. Having done this for many years myself, I can honestly say it's an amazing experience for both the reader and the students. We also, several years ago, began on a mission to make spelling cool. You know, sometimes kids growing up, education isn't the cool thing, but we thought we can make education cool by making spelling cool. So we started to sponsor a spelling bee at the middle school, which is funded by the Education Foundation, but also is supported by the North Shore Mall. And every year over the past 6 or 7 years, we've been able to send our winners off to compete in the regional bees. And someday, I know if we try real hard, we'll get one to the national bee. For our older students, we provide a mentoring and careers program. In our mentoring program, we actually take kids who are really interested in learning about a vocation of any sort and put them and match them with a real business. And they get to spend hours in a real business seeing if it's really something that they think they want to pursue. And for our 10th graders, we have a career day, which this year was attended by over 60 companies. And our 10th graders get to go around and ask that typical question of, how much do you make? And do I need to read or write or do math to do this? Finally, as the year winds down, we also take a moment to reflect on all the activities during the year and the accomplishments, as well as plan for our future. And that's where our George Peabody Legacy event comes from. We felt it was important, with all the things out there that have Hall of Fames, that we recognize those in the community in their own Hall of Fame who've given so much as unsung heroes in our educational community to so many and never get recognized for it. So our goal is to provide that recognition for all of those nominees and inductees who have participated in our educational system for many, many years. Tonight, we will honor 5 new members into the 2017 class of the George Peabody Legacy Award. The award recipients are actually nominated by the community independently and then selected based upon their achievements and the indelible mark that they left on our community. This year, our recipients are Sister Christine Gubisch, Dr. Donna Costa, my good friend Elaine Marshall, the supermother of the Stage 1 Drama Club, June Kessel, and a woman who I absolutely admire for her courage and fortitude in bringing women's sport on an equal par with men, Lorraine Benoit. Tonight you're going to have an opportunity to learn about each of these recipients and understand why they were chosen. They will each receive formal recognition via a citation from the Peabody Trust in London, signed by the trustees, a remembrance clock, and their names will be placed on a remembrance wall when it is finally dedicated, which will be soon, now that we have a new middle school. Before we start the event, could any former recipients please stand up and be recognized? Come on, Frank, Andy. These are great people who've done great things for our community. And last but not least, I do want to recognize my fellow board members from the Peabody Education Foundation and all those special volunteers who run around behind the scenes and get this hall ready and help organize this event. So could all the volunteers and the PEF board members please stand up? That includes you, Miss Mary. So without further ado, I would like to we have two legacy sponsors this evening, Eastern Bank and Greyvock Associates. Eastern Bank has optioned not to give you a commercial, but they have been a wonderful partner in this whole program since the beginning, and they've always been right there as our legacy sponsors. So I do want to recognize, and if you could give a round of applause to our good friends at Eastern Bank. And finally, presenting on behalf of Greyvock Associates, Dan Johnson.
I was going to read you this short speech, but I think I've burned my retinas on the way up to the podium. Hello, and welcome to the Wiggins Auditorium. On behalf of Greyvock Associates, I'd like to congratulate the winners of the 2017 George Peabody Legacy Award. These individuals embody the spirit of an award intended to honor the lifetime of contribution these educators and philanthropists have given to our education system. As a Peabody-based company headed up by a lifetime Peabody resident and employing many others, Greyvock has been involved with and supportive of the Peabody Education Foundation and its initiatives. We strive to encourage and foster education both in our organization and in our community. As a provider of information technology services to businesses both here on the North Shore and around the world, we understand the importance of ongoing education in order to keep pace with our ever-changing industry. The appreciation for a lifetime of learning begins in our schools, and because of that, Greyvock is proud to be a title sponsor and supporter of the Peabody Education Foundation, the George Peabody Legacy Awards, and our honored guests. Thank you.
Next, we'd like to hear from our good friend, Dr. Herb Levine. Come on up. He's our superintendent of schools.
Thank you, David, and thank you to the Peabody Education Foundation, of which I am a part, for continuing to sponsor these great events throughout the year for both adults and kids. We really appreciate it, David. You're a good friend to education. Thank you. How about that high school a cappella group under the direction of John Simmons? So I'd like to congratulate all the recipients. And Sister Christine, where are you? Hi, Sister. Sister, I'm of the Jewish persuasion, so I never utilized your services. But I do want you to know. Thank you. I do want you to know that my high school girlfriend was Irish Catholic, and Sister Bertrand at Immaculate Conception loved me. You know, Albert Einstein said that what can be measured doesn't necessarily truly count, and what can be counted may not matter. I think I blew that. Everything that can be counted doesn't truly matter, and everything that matters cannot be truly counted. That's what Albert said. And we have to listen to Albert because he was the greatest mind of the 20th century. What we do in the business of education and what these recipients do every day and have done every day for many years can't necessarily be measured in the traditional sense. We can't pour it into a measuring cup. We can't put it on a ruler. But when a teacher says to a third grader, "What a wonderful new hairdo you have today," that can only be measured in different terms. Or when the principal of the building at the center school took a young lady who had just presented during an event at the center school, and she got overwhelmed, little girl in the third grade or second grade, and she was ready to break down, and the principal simply put her arm around her and said, "Let's go for a walk." And in a few minutes, she was back, fully confident once again. That cannot be measured in the traditional sense. Because what you do every day and have done every day, whether it be little kids or big kids, high school kids need you just like little kids need you. Maybe in a different way, but they need you nevertheless. What you do every day in providing them with confidence, understanding, love, kindness, and compassion can never be measured in the traditional sense, but it is what matters. Congratulations to you and your families. Good luck.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm Tom Gould, Vice Chair of the Peabody Education Foundation, and it's my honor to present Dottie Apostolidis to introduce Sister Christine Gubisch. Dottie, please.
I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to see over the podium. Happy evening, everyone. Sister Christine has made a lasting, profound impact on children and their families for the past 45 years, working as a kindergarten teacher for 32 years and a preschool teacher for 13 years at the Carmelite Sisters Preschool. She also serves as co-director of the school. Sister Christine has been a religious sister for 49 years, and during that time, she has dedicated her life to educating young children and serving the community at large in so many gracious ways. Since 1968 to present time, Sister has served in various local parishes as a catechist, cantor, choir member, liturgical musician, playing the guitar and flute, youth group leader, prayer and Bible camp leader. During the 1970s, Sister worked at the Pilgrim Nursing Home as a nurse's aide and presently continues to visit the elderly and the sick. In 2013, in collaboration with Sister Kathy Betancourt, Sister helped produce a 20-song CD of original children's music entitled, I Believe, Songs of Faith for the Young Child and Family. A companion coloring book was made, and the proceeds from the CD and the coloring book benefits the sisters' missions in India, Brazil, Indonesia, and the Philippines. The CD and the coloring book have been distributed in more than 10 countries worldwide. Sister is an animal lover. Over the many years, she has had many classroom pets: iguanas, chicks, rabbits, and guinea pigs, to name a few. She had a unique way of bringing nature and life into the classroom. Many memorable lessons grew from those unique hands-on experiences. Her classes adopted the same whale each year. Crystal the whale has been adopted by her classes for 20 years. Sister Christine played the piano and guitar for her students because music was a way of learning songs, developing rhythm in the body, and rhyme and dance. She placed great importance on teaching all curriculum areas with diverse teaching methods and manipulatives. She directed plays and skits, and at graduation, she made each child feel successful, important, and loved. As an educator, her devotion to her life's work cannot be measured just by how many years in the classroom, but by the immeasurable impact she has made on children she has taught. A favorite quote of hers is from Mother Teresa, of course. We do not do great things, only small things with great love. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you, don't be nervous, Sister Christine Gubisch. And she also receives a wonderful clock from the foundation. So here you go. Thank you.
Again, good evening, everyone. When I first received the envelope from the city of Peabody, I thought it was another evaluation report that I had to fill out for one or more of my preschool children. So I was very surprised to read it was an award letter and that I was the recipient. I thought this award was given only to Peabody Public School teachers, which I could have been 45 years ago, when after student teaching at the old Brown School, Principal Scher asked me to be their kindergarten teacher, but I wouldn't be able to wear my religious habit, so I gratefully declined the offer. I began my first kindergarten class in our convent's garage in September of 1971 and moved into our newly built classrooms in January of 1972. And there I have been ever since. Great things can start in a garage. In the Gospels of St. Matthew and St. Luke, Jesus says, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them." In these years, I have sought to live these words through my teaching. I have been very fortunate and blessed to be able to teach my way, incorporating some of my favorite things like religion, music, dance, art, plays, and nature to create an inviting and exciting learning environment and activities for young children. Early in my life, I had wanted to be a singer on Broadway, but God had other plans for me. Instead, I get to sing every day to a captive audience in my classroom. Sometimes I thought being a preschool teacher was not the best use of my time. But when past children return and share with me their happy memories of preschool and kindergarten, and how their experiences at such a young age help guide them in life, I feel that every moment has been important and worthwhile. I'd like to thank the parents throughout all these years for giving me such wonderful children, and thank our preschool teachers of the 3-year-olds for giving me such well-prepared children. I would also like to thank Dottie Apostolides for nominating me for this award, and to the Peabody Education Foundation for this honor. But especially, I thank God for these many years of teaching. Not to me, but to God give the glory and honor. God led me to this profession. I am very surprised at this award, but I am glad the work of early childhood teachers is being recognized, appreciated, and valued. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sister. Next presentation will go to Dr. Donna Costa, and her introduction will be done by Karen McGovern.
Good evening. I just have to say this is probably the best class entering and being honored for the George Peabody Legacy Award that I've ever seen. I've had the honor of working with 4 out of the 5, and Sister Christine, you had some of my family members, so I felt like I knew you and all the work that you did. So, but I am here tonight, and it's truly my honor and pleasure to present the next George Peabody Legacy Award winner to my friend, Dr. Donna Costa. People have many accomplishments on paper, but it is educators such as Dr. Costa that goes through each day and leaves a positive impact on students, colleagues, and the community. Her knowledge, leadership, acts of kindness, support, and encouragement have made a difference to so many. She has truly been a hidden gem tucked away on the 3rd floor of Peabody High School in room A316. So we're going to start at the beginning of Donna, because Donna is a true Peabodyite. She grew up in Peabody on Tracy Street. She was not your traditional student. She went to Peabody High School but dropped out. Always recognizing the value of education, she went on to get her GED and attended Sylvania Technical School and for electronics, and then entered the work field. In 1981, she came back to Peabody High School after working in the electronics field, and shortly thereafter, she began teaching and became a department head, and has been a department head for the past 32 years. Always recognizing the value of education, she continued to pursue additional training and degrees through North Shore Community College, Salem State University, the University of Massachusetts, and culminating in attending Harvard University. What better role model for students than to have a teacher who continues to challenge herself by earning a Certificate of Advanced Study in Interactive Technology and a Doctorate of Education from Harvard University. It's amazing. Many times in the past years, I have held her up as an example and an inspiration for my students that didn't know what they wanted to do or what they could do. Her role as a teacher, teaching is hard work, and students come with many needs. Dr. Costa connected to her students, taught them the electronics curriculum, but also taught them about real-life skills that you need in the workforce. Her honesty and support of students in need is one of the many reasons she hears from them years after they've graduated. She's attended their weddings, heard about their family events, and so on. In addition, she's worked with adults in the community to provide them with the skills they need to be successful in the workforce. Dr. Costa has been a mentor and friend to new teachers before mentoring was established. She's always been supportive of teachers and aided them in practical things like maneuvering the state process in getting your certification, finding a copy machine, or tapping them to work on special projects or curriculum. When you meet her, you feel the positive energy radiating off of her. She gives you her full attention. She's a data person. Each year, the vocational grant requires students need to be coded, and as a result, the city receives money back. This is a tedious task that requires knowledge of the vocational courses, knowledge of the students, the scheduling, and the coding process, and hours of work, which has resulted in many dollars returned to this city. One of her greatest assets is her ability to collaborate, involve and support staff, and facilitate opportunities that benefit our district. Professionally, Dr. Costa has always been involved in boards and organizations that have a lasting impact on education in the community. She has worked with many local businesses, placing students in work opportunities within the community. She has been involved as a teacher, facilitator, and supporter in developing programs through the Tech Prep program. She has worked to develop articulation agreements that have given students college credit for high school courses. She was a teacher who held students accountable, had high expectations, and therefore accomplished so much. Her work ethic and knowledge has not gone unnoticed by those at the state level. She was appointed to be a trustee on the board of North Shore Community College by Governor Patrick and served for 5 years. Dr. Costa has been a trained CPR instructor for the American Red Cross, and for many years she trained our school nurses, PE staff, and teachers in CPR. Nothing will ever surpass the incident that happened in December of 2007 when a high school student went into cardiac arrest. Dr. Costa was there and helped save the life of that student and was later awarded an official citation of heroism from the city of Peabody. I could stand here for hours and just continue on to give you specific examples of all the ways Dr. Costa has impacted my life and those around her. But not one of those accomplishments is as great to her as being called mom and grandmother. Throughout all her years of work and study and dedication to her craft, she was a single parent who raised 2 wonderful children and now has 2 wonderful daughter-in-laws and son-in-laws and grandchildren, which make her very proud. And for those that have passed from Donna's life, Lulu, Donnie, and Anthony, they are beaming with pride tonight for this well-deserved recognition. So thank you, Dr. Costa, for everything you've done for the education of Peabody students and the difference you have made in our community. Dr. Donna Costa. Thank you so much. And this
OMG? I mean, oh my God. Okay. Hello, everybody. I don't usually do this. I'm an educator. I usually teach, but I find the need to thank people who have put me here. I am very honored. And this is right up there. This award is right up there with my Heroism Award, because I was born in Peabody, raised in Peabody, educated in Peabody, work in Peabody, and live in Peabody. And I want to thank everybody for being here, for all of us. And I'm honored for the other 4 recipients that are with me, because I work with all of them. And sister, nice to meet you. Okay, I want to express my sincere appreciation, thanks to you, David Gravel, for doing all this work with the Peabody Ed Foundation. And to members of the Peabody Education Foundation Selection Committee for recognizing me with the George Peabody Legacy Award. I am truly humbled and honored to receive this prestigious award. As a person born, raised, educated, and employed in Peabody, this award is extremely special to me. And having all of you here, my friends, my colleagues, my family, thank you all very much for this. It means so much. One more thing. My mother was born here, raised here, Peabodyite. What do we say? We bleed blue? My mom did. I will dedicate this to my mom. Lulu Rose Smith. She is very happy right now. Thank you.
Congratulations, Donna. I'd like to take a moment to introduce my fellow elected officials, City Councilor Ann Manning Martin, Councilor David Gravel, Dave, Councilor and State Representative Tom Walsh, Ward 2 Councilor Pete McGinn, Ward 4 Councilor Ed Sharist, School Committee members Jared Hockman, Tom Rosignol, and Joe Amico. If I missed anybody, I apologize. I don't think I did. It is my honor to ask Brian Gravel to come up and introduce our next recipient, Elaine Marshall. Brian?
Hello, everyone. I could do a weather joke, but I think those ones have been worn out. So, Elaine Marshall dedicated her life to teaching in the city of Peabody. Her journey began in 1974 when she started teaching in Peabody High School's business department. Elaine taught classes such as business math, record keeping, and business and personal law. She spent some of this time at the Higgins Junior High School, as well as teaching bookkeeping at night as part of the continuing education program. During this early part of her career, she met the love of her life and fellow PBMHS teacher Jack Marshall. The two eventually married and went on to become Peabody High School's most adorable couple ever. Out of her 34 years of teaching, Elaine is perhaps best known for the 18 years she spent in Peabody High School's Social Studies and Science Department, teaching civics, psychology, and AP Psych. She founded and developed the AP Psych program, in which she taught 2 to 3 classes a year for over a decade. In her final year of teaching this curriculum, her students went on to score 18 4s and 10 5s on their AP exams. Elaine, rightfully so, was proud of her students and simply loved teaching. Outside the classroom, she belonged to many scholastic committees, such as the Transition Committee, which helps students transition from middle school to high school. Elaine volunteered her time at events like prom and graduation. She was advisor to 2 Congressional Award Medal winners, the Business Club, and this was a fun fact I did not know, and even at one point, the Peabody High School hockey cheerleaders. She was also a PBMHS coordinator for the American Cancer Society's Daffodil Days, an effort near and dear to her heart. Elaine was twice awarded Co-Teacher of the Year by the senior class, nominated to the Who's Who among teachers, received the Golden Apple Award from her peers, and was recognized by the class of 2001 with the Wind Beneath My Wings Award for her unwavering support. But enough about Elaine. I want to tell you about Mrs. Marshall. Mrs. Marshall was my teacher 20 years ago. And while I've already told you about her accomplishments as a teacher, she has always been so much more than that. Mrs. Marshall is a person who truly cares about her students, her family and friends, and her community. Her smile and warm spirit are unmatched. She engaged with her students and showed them compassion and an interest in their lives outside the classroom. Her and her love, Jack, were no stranger to school plays, athletic events, and other PB high school happenings. They went to these events not because they had to, but because they enjoyed being a part of their students' lives. After high school, I've run into Mrs. Marshall from time to time around Peabody, and her interest and care for what was going on in my life has never changed. When my best friend and her former student was diagnosed with cancer, she reached out to me. When my cousin and her former student recently lost her husband all too soon, she was there to pay her respects and show her support. She has followed her students' lives beyond the classroom, beyond their time at Peabody High. It seems very fitting to be honoring Mrs. Marshall tonight with an award named after such a generous, philanthropic person such as George Peabody, because every day she has given people like myself her care, her support, her smile, and her aura. For our community, Mrs. Marshall has given her dedication and ultimately her life to make an impact, and for all that, we should all be most grateful. So with that, please join me in welcoming Miss Elaine Marshall to accept her George Peabody Legacy Award.
I just said to my husband, I have to get up after that. Like his tears are in my eyes. I want to say welcome to you all. I also want to thank John Simmons and the group. I saw them so many times, so to hear them up there, I just love the fact that they're part of this. And Mom didn't make me tall enough. Thank you, Brian. Thank you to the Peabody Education Foundation, and to all those who nominated me. You made my mother very proud. She's right over there. I want to congratulate all of the other honorees tonight. I did work with 3 of them. And I didn't just know them, I had met their families, and just wonderful, wonderful people, so I congratulate them. And for Sister Christine, this story goes back probably 20 years ago, but I had my niece, Nicole. I probably was driving her to Irish step dancing. See, Brian, look what you did to me. Have to do teacher mode here, right, Mrs. Anderson? Sister Christine, Nicole is in the back seat, and I was driving her on Irish step dancing, and all of a sudden I hear dun 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 dun. I said, Nicole, what are you humming? And she said, which I thought she was going to say the Nutcracker, she said, Tchaikovsky. And I said, Tchaikovsky? And she said, yes. And I said, well, where did you learn that? And she said, Sister Christine, and I know Beethoven, and then she started rattling off all these other composers, and I thought, Sister Christine, you're doing something right, that's for sure. Good for you. So I do have that connection with you as well. I want to thank you all for being here for all of us, just as Donna just said. There are people near and dear to my heart here, my family, sitting right over here. My father was Irish Catholic and said, I really hope one day I have a nurse and a teacher. Well, Nurse Mary Ann is right over there. And my brothers are here, and my nieces, and my nephew's wife, who is my niece, and my Aunt Barbara and her son David. So I thank you so much for being here and supporting me, for all your love and support for all the years. I also want to thank my cherished friends. My cherished friends are here tonight. They came from near and far, and I can't thank them enough. Thank you. And for all of my colleagues, everyone had a very significant part of an impact in my life, and I thank you all for that. Brian said I started in 1974, and that is what the main office always said. However, I started in 1972, and I started substituting, but then there was a teacher in the business department that was going out for maternity leave, and so I became a permanent sub and taught for the rest of the year, and even chaperoned that prom, so there must be pictures to prove that I was there somewhere. But I have to thank, at the beginning of my career, Elaine DeMoore. She was such a mentor to me in that department, and she really, truly helped me along. And I was faced with a lot of things, and after that first year, I didn't get the job back right away. What happened was I filled in for a teacher named Jim Picone, who was a business teacher, and he was filling in for Harry Eager, who was assistant to the principal at the time. And Harry was filling in for Jack Walsh, who was the unit director at the time, and Jack was starting the coordination of all the curriculum. And they would keep us in those positions from 15 to 18 days and then take us out. And then I would sub maybe at the Higgins or the Kennedy or for somebody else at the high school, but that was my second year. And it was very interesting, and I got to meet lots of people, but it really truly was an experience, along with the 16 pink slips that I received in my career. And I hung in there because I loved working in Peabody, I truly did. So somebody had a baby or retired or something happened that there was a job at 16. So if you're young out there and you're thinking, how am I going to do this, hang in there. At the beginning of 1974, when they did hire me, and Mr. Welch, by the way, for those 16 pink slips, would bring me in and say, oh, Elaine, I'm so sorry. You know I want you here. I'm so sorry we have to go through this year after year, and we did. But that 1974, they asked me if I took the job, would I be in charge of the business club? Well, there was no business club. So Kathy O'Leary, who is here tonight, Kathy O'Leary and I were the co-advisors of the business club, and we actually ran fashion shows long before the fashion shows of recent years. And Sheila Shea, who's here, was up there on the stage doing all the presentations, and it was wonderful. We had a young group. We all grew up together. All of the people I started working with were a young faculty, and we grew up together, and we all meant a lot to each other. And so I thank you way back then, for way back then.
18 years after I started, I then ended up in social studies. There were no business jobs for me left. And I did have a double major in college, and the second one was social studies. And there, Frank Hardy took me under his wing. I thank you. And I thank all the other people that I surrounded myself with, Andy Metropoulos, John Andruskevich, Peter Lampropoulos, and my good pal, Jan Anderson. She was the other half of a little duo that we had. And I ended up teaching civics until I stopped presenting it, and also psychology, and she was sociology, and they were kind of back to back. So we had a lot of the same students, but we also got involved and did a lot of the same activities. And she was my rock, and at times I was her rock, so I thank her very much. And over the years, I also became quite close with the English department. That's when my husband taught. And there were so many people, Elaine, Haig, who I saw you come in later, and there were the two Lindas, and Kim Catron. There are so many more. Mary Henry, who always was so nice to me. I had her daughter, and she always was so supportive of me. So I thank you all for all your friendships over the years. I also had the privilege of teaching with two cousins, Kathy and Jimmy Cassidy, and also Bob Kavanaugh, who I thought was Mr. PHS. And he was honored the first year, I believe, and rightfully so, he should have been honored. So there you go. And I ended my career with a person who I feel will be a future Legacy Award winner, and that's Miss Abby Gore, and she's here as well. So thank you for coming, Abby. I really can't say enough about all the work the class advisors did over the years, but especially my good friend who I went to high school with, and that would be Jerry Hallinan, and he was honored last year. So Jerry, we had many happy years. There were so many others that they weren't just people at work. We really grew up together, as I said, and we became friends. In concluding, I want to thank all of my students. They touched my life, and it was the most rewarding career that you could have. Especially for the last 3 years, 3 years of classes. It got me through a rough period of time, and it put a smile on my face daily when I went into school. Special thanks, and this is really true, special thanks to all the parents of all these young ladies and gentlemen. They did a wonderful job because they made it so every day was a day to look forward to, and their children were just wonderful. I loved working in the city of Peabody. And that's what I wrote down lastly. I love being a Peabody educator. It was a true joy. Thank you so much.
Before the next presentation, I would like to recognize two other elected officials who are in the room. Margaret Tierney, who is our library trustee. And our wonderful Senator Joan Lovely. Presenting our next inductee, Ms. June Kessel, will be introduced by Tom Gould.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be up here and introduce June Kessel. She's never been more nervous in her life. Look at her. She just got off of, she broke her leg and had surgery, and she's struggling, but she's here, especially just for tonight. So thank you, June, for coming. For those that don't know, June Kessel was a special education paraprofessional at Peabody High School from 1986 to 2006. In her position, she served and supported literally hundreds of high school students with varying levels of disabilities and special needs. Her dedication to her students and her caring nature made her a valuable resource in the classroom. While she officially retired in 2006, she could not stay away from her students long and soon began substitute teaching. June is a mother of 4 children who are here this evening, and she became actively involved with them in their education from the very beginning. She first served a large section of the student population when she took on an active role as the president of the Higgins Middle School PTO. She went on to serve in many other volunteer capacities, always putting the interests of her students first. In 1994, June became an advisor for the Stage 1 Drama Club, and she has never looked back since that time. Alongside Mr. Richard Carey, she helped move the club forward into a preeminent group at the high school, advising and supporting the group on over 50 productions during her tenure with Stage 1. She is known to have supervised everything from technical aspects of a production to providing support for aspiring actresses and actors on their performance to even makeup and hair. She could certainly do it. Look at her. She's impeccable. She has done it all, never looking for fanfare for herself, always looking to inspire her young students to be the best that they can be and give the best performance that they can give. She is always the first one in and the last one out, turning down the lights and locking the doors after every performance and rehearsal. She has been an inspiration to a number of students at Peabody High School and a model volunteer for the advancement of the arts. In recognition of her dedicated service, the Performing Arts Group has created a scholarship in her name, the June Kessel Humanitarian Scholarship. This scholarship is given to a deserving Stage 1 member who exemplifies the commitment, drive, and passion for drama. For over 20 years, June has demonstrated dedication, loyalty, and love of Stage 1 and its members. She is affectionately known as the Stage 1 Mother. In recognition of her work as a volunteer, a mentor, and instructor, the Peabody Education Foundation is pleased to honor June Kessel with the 2017 George Peabody Legacy Award. June? June, we're going to you. She asked me earlier, what do I have to say?
This might not come out the way that I was thinking that it should, so it's going to go one by one. I want to thank everyone here and everyone that I've had to deal with over the last 30 years. Had to deal with. See, what I tell you, it's the drugs. I'm on drugs. I am truly humbled, and I'm so grateful to be with the other 4 people. I did not know Christine, Sister Christine, but I looked at her. She's adorable, absolutely adorable. I have worked with all the other recipients, and we have all become friends over the years, and I mean really good friends. We've partied together, we've been to, oh my God, I'm saying that. It's not coming out, is it? Look at the table that I'm sitting at. My friends are behind me that are practically my family, and my family is over here going, don't say another word. Because I guess I can't. I don't. It is. I'm high on drugs here, and it's like. For all you little children that are here, don't you didn't hear that. Nobody heard that. But again, I'm so sorry. But thank you so much. I'm humbled.
We'll be back to her later, apparently. All right, and our last recipient, Lorraine Benoit, is going to be introduced by David Gravel. Thank you.
I don't know, June. I want to have something what you're taking there. It came out perfect as far as I could tell. It's my great honor to introduce Lorraine Benoit as an inductee to the 2017 George Peabody Legacy Awards. Lorraine Benoit was a physical education teacher and a coach at Peabody High School, and she had a career that spanned 35 years. While her retirement from teaching was in 2003, her coaching career continued and continues to this day, resulting in over 40 years of coaching at our high school. You know, what makes Lorraine truly special beyond her many years of dedicated service to our school system is the impact that she had on advocating for the equality for women's sports. My wife, who was then Kathy Peterson, was one of the many beneficiaries of her work to promote equality for female athletes. Lorraine's impact was so great that upon her retirement, the Salem News recognized Lorraine as a legacy pioneer. To quote that article, "To say Lorraine Benoit was a pioneer for women's sport at Peabody High School and beyond is like saying water can be wet." When she began teaching at Peabody High School in the early 70s, Benoit worked diligently to start athletic programs for girls. In doing so, she demanded equal pay for female coaches as well. Like the pioneers of the right for women to vote, Benoit had to fight hard to overcome the resistance from the many who wanted to preserve the status quo. But she was the right woman for the job, someone with a burning desire and boundless energy who didn't budge and ultimately achieved her goals. You see, Lorraine had experienced firsthand in college the inequality of women's sports at the collegiate level, not having proper facilities and equal time in playing fields. Upon entering the Peabody system, she was told she just needed to demonstrate the need for more programs for women before a change could be made. So, when the women's intramural programs were, as she quoted, bursting at the seams, there was still great resistance, but she would not let that stall the process any longer. And she finally got the first women's varsity programs started at Peabody High School. As a coach in the women's varsity program, she soon recognized that she and her fellow women colleagues were being paid substantially less than their male counterparts. And again, she stood up and fought the good fight and demanded equal pay for women coaches. The same was true for her fight for the use of the fields, where I hear many an amusing story about how she pushed some people off the football field. Each time she fought and she won, she advanced the status of women's sports and, quote, moved the ball down the field of equality. In that same Salem News article, she was quoted as saying, "When I start things, I don't stop until it's finished." And certainly she didn't stop until it was finished. Her hard fight for women's rights and equality has resulted in a tremendous change in our system and the opportunities afforded female athletes and coaches. Her legacy is truly one that echoes George Peabody, a debt due from present to future generations. Lorraine Benoit paid that debt for women, both athletes and coaches, and as a result, many future generations enjoy the benefits of her struggle. So on behalf of the Peabody Education Foundation and the grateful citizens of Peabody, I am pleased to recognize Lorraine Benoit as a 2017 recipient of the George Peabody Award.
This is not my forte. In fact, I thought I'd blast you right out of the room with my field voice. But thank you to the committee and for their hard work and dedication. To my fellow nominees, I congratulate you and am honored to be included with you tonight. I came to Peabody to teach and coach in '68, and for that, for 27 years, have made Peabody my home. My professional goal was to be happy and to enjoy my chosen field, and I think 49 years later says it all. Karen McGovern, thank you for the nomination, and I'm grateful that my family and friends are here to share this wonderful honor with me tonight. Thank you.
My wife, Kathy, always told me you tell it like it is, Elaine, and you just told it. Well, that concludes our event for this evening. But before we go, I would like to say a couple of things. Once again, I'd like to thank all those members of the Peabody Education Foundation who show up every month, 7:30 in the morning, and at every event that we do, and volunteer their time and energy. So if you, again, would please stand up and be recognized. You are all my heroes because you do such a great job and you're always there for us. Thank you. And last but not least, like any foundation, we exist to help others, and we can only help others with your help. So please, take the time sometime and visit us on peabodyedfoundation.org. Volunteer, make a donation. We'll put your money to good use. We appreciate this. Our 5th year, this was a dream that we had to recognize educators, and every year it gets better and better. There are 171 of you here this evening. Our first time there was 100. And we really appreciate you coming out and supporting us as a foundation and supporting all the people here who've given so much of their lives to our kids. Thank you very much and have a great evening.